You don't need to wait for Forbes to come calling. You don't need to worry about, pitching yourself to podcasts. You can start creating content yourself and acting as your own newsroom and your own publicist. And this is something that's free and it's something you can start doing today.
Some say you have to choose between being the perfect professional woman or being the bad girl. But we're here to tell you you can be both. I'm Rachna Patel.
And I'm Ebony Lukovitz, and this is A Bad Girl's Guide to Business, a podcast for bad bitches who want to create lives they love and incredible businesses.
Welcome back, baddies. And I've got my favorite person in the whole world, Ebony Lukovitz, here with me. That's how I feel about you, okay?
That is so weird because you're also my favorite person.
Well, Ebs is going to be taking us through an incredible episode, jam-packed with all PR tips. But, before we get into it, let's just catch up. Tell me how your week's been, baby. Tell me everything.
Girlfriend, I've been looking forward to this episode so I can just bitch out how unmotivated I am this week.
Go, please! No, don't
Do
tell
you
the
have
people
weeks
that.
where you're like, I couldn't give a shit, I am
Yeah.
over it?
Oh, yeah. I went for like an in-person meeting yesterday with my client and I love them. I adore them. But I was just like, I'm going to order 2 cookies and a matcha so I can get through this because I am hungry and I need sugar. And going in person and doing all the kiki haha, like that shit's tiring. So while it's productive, it gets tiring. And so it's Wednesday today.
Is it?
And I feel like it should be Friday.
I know. It's been a big week here as well. We had Halloween.
Yes, we did.
If this is a holiday that you observe, then maybe you've spent a lot of time crafting on your own costume. But we had Halloween. We had obviously the US election was yesterday, and so I was also on live TV. I get these I know. I get these requests from the Australian Today Show to come on and talk about the election.
Oh, I get these requests.
I get these requests, my fans. And it's so funny because for people who are listening for the first time, I was a journalist for a decade. And before I quit journalism, I was the Washington correspondent for the New York Post. I interviewed Trump a couple of times. So that's Ebony's past life. But sometimes I get requests to come on and just talk about the election and politics. And my husband, Adam, God love him, was like, couldn't they find someone more relevant to talk to?
No, they didn't.
I was like, bitch, I'll take my 5 minutes of fame. Thank you. Jealousy is an illness. Get well soon.
I'm going to have a word with ads for that cheeky comment. Bloody bastard.
He keeps me real. It's hard being married to a superstar. I get it. But yeah, it's really funny. Eden is nearly 2 years old and I am exhausted, girl. I'm tired. I'm having one of those weeks where I'm like,
well, you're allowed to be tired because you're 7.5 months pregnant. If you weren't tired,
I'm also super preg.
Yeah, if you weren't 7.5 months pregnant and you weren't super tired and you're coming to the end of your fiscal year, which we're gonna have to talk about that annual planning at some point, honey.
Yes.
Don't
talk about it.
And if you weren't tired, that wouldn't be normal. So everything you're feeling is valid. Yeah,
thank you, girl. I appreciate it. Listen, it's I have 6 weeks left in my pregnancy.
It's only 6 weeks.
I know. Can you believe
our baby's
it?
Arriving?
Our precious angel.
Our baby. Who's Adam?
Yeah, she moves all day long. It's really nice. So I'm in meetings and I feel her moving around and it's so exciting. But I'm actually excited to go on maternity leave for a few months and have a bit of a break.
Yeah.
From my other baby.
From your other baby. Now you're going to be a mother of 2. So a couple of questions there actually, because I know we'd spoken about this before. You said that you were going to tell your clients about you being pregnant. Have you managed to do that? You still haven't told them? Send them the podcast. Be done with it.
I'm just gonna no, 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 no. I'm just gonna like join a call and be like, "Hey, here's
And then
me and my
there's the
baby."
baby. That's one way to do it.
It's so funny because you're on Zoom all day long, so people can't see that I'm pregnant. I feel like that's low key, like so hysterical, like just like joining a call one day and being like, I had a baby. They're just like, what the fuck?
I kind of want you to do that though.
I know I kind of do too. It's like
It's
it's
so
so
Ebony.
chaotic. I know it's
Yeah.
so me. Like, hey, sorry I'm late, guys. I had a baby yesterday. Sorry I missed the call. Sorry I couldn't send the agenda ahead of time. No, I really I need to get my shit figured out so I can. That's another thing
Yeah.
that's like stressing me out. It's like, we need to hire another employee. There's like a lot going on at the moment. And I don't think I've really stopped to like just recognize the fact that I'm 8 months pregnant pretty much.
Yes.
And and I'm running this business. So I've been feeling like really tired, wanting to sleep a lot, wanting to like withdraw socially. But I think just like that being okay and being a bit over it is also okay. And I think on the pod, we're like, yeah, we're amazing. We have so much energy and like, you can do it. And this week, I'm like, I want to tap the fuck out. So
I
that's
I
me. And
understand.
I know it comes in waves, but
Mm-hmm.
like, it's a struggle this week finding the inner motivation to like push. I've been having to like, it's been tough the last week or two, and that's okay. That's part of it, I think.
It
So
is.
that's
Like I
me.
said,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. And, before we kind of get into kind of me, like I said earlier, everything you're feeling is valid. And whether you're pregnant or you're not pregnant, it's
Yeah,
okay
you're
to
just
have,
tired.
if you're just, it's okay to be
If you're just
tired.
tired.
It's
Yeah.
okay just to have those weeks where you're just like, do you know what? F this, F everyone. I don't want to
Yeah.
do it. I just want to get my stuff done. And then you feel that like spurt of energy, and you'll be like, oh, I'm waking up at 6:30. I'm starting at 7:30. I'm getting everything done. And you have to be able to ebb and flow with your energy. And that's one of the amazing things about being an entrepreneur. Like, you really hold yourself accountable. You don't have a manager or a boss being like,
Nope.
hey, I need this deliverable. It really is up to you. So just be kind to yourself through all of this because it's not
Yeah.
easy, right? It's
It's a
not. It's not
marathon,
easy.
not a sprint. And so if you're a bit over it and you want to watch some Netflix and eat a cookie,
Two or
do
two.
it. Or two cookies, like
Yeah, I would
you
have got
did,
three, but
Raj.
they ran out. I
Are
have a
you
big
in
sweet
like
tooth.
how are you feeling? You're
Okay,
eating some
so
cookies.
I feel great. Feel good. I feel like it's been a very productive week. I've had some really active client conversations through one of my other clients who now, I have invested equity share in their company. So I guess that's kind of part my baby. So it requires a lot more time, you know?
You're
And
invested. You're
I'm
literally
in,
invested.
I'm literally invested, and it requires that compartmentalization. I said it right, right? Yeah, compartmentalize.
Compartmentalization. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
Ding.
one. To really figure out like, okay, my personal life. I have a partner I live with. I have two children. They're cats,
Two
but they're still
kitties.
children. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're my babies. It's living everyday life, then your social life, and also
Hmm.
Sakari Consulting as a business. And the two other companies that I have invested interest and equity in, it's just about splitting your time. And, sometimes I'm feeling really burnt out. And like I said, when I had all of the in-person meetings yesterday, and I love in-person meetings, like we were all texting off, like, wow, that was amazing. That was great. But I came home maybe at 5 and I was like, I need to lay down for a minute.
I
Like that was a
know.
lot. Like it was a lot. And
Yeah.
and I'm going in, 4 times next week in person, traveling here, going there. And it's a lot, but I'm very grateful. So I'm
How are you
experiencing a lot of
taking care of
gratitude.
yourself?
How am I taking? Oh, well, actually, this weekend, one of my best girlfriends came in from New York. I love
Oh
her.
yeah, you had a girls'
Yeah. I
trip.
had a little girls' trip. We were just a couple of hours out of Mexico City. So we're in a place called Cuernavaca in Morelos. If anyone knows anything about Mexico City, we're very high altitude. So Morelos is a little bit lower altitude, so the weather's warmer. So we stayed in a really lovely hotel, adults only, which is great. No like
No
noise,
infants.
nothing. Yeah, no babies anywhere. And we got massages and a full body wrap, and I
Oh
did
my
yoga,
God.
sound
Oh,
bath. I was by the pool. It was amazing, and I
that sounds
ate
amazing.
all day. and all night.
Oh,
It was great. And I got into bed and I read, and it was just really wholesome. It was really nice. And so I think that really set me up for this crazy week. Because if I
mm,
didn't have that, um, God knows how I would be feeling
yeah.
right now. So I
Yeah.
encourage the baddies out there to take a break, take a couple of
Rest.
days,
I think
rest.
that's the theme that is coming through. I left the office at like 5:01 the other day. I was like,
Hmm.
I'm out. I told
Absolutely.
Adam, I was like, honey, I am exhausted. Can you make dinner? And it's okay. Like you really need these periods of rest. So I think that's the theme that's coming through in
It
this
is.
episode about PR is also rest.
Also, rest. First and foremost, rest. And now let's get into your
Let's get into it.
wonderful PR tips. Let's do it.
I am very excited to get into this. If people are listening to Bad Girls Guide to Business for the first time, I run a public relations agency in New York City. So this is my zone of genius. This is what I help people do all day long. And I'm very excited today to tell the baddies basically how to develop a really powerful story for their businesses. And this is so crucial because having a compelling and moving story around your brand, how you help people, what makes you unique, really helps you stand apart from your competitors, attract investors, customers, and just feel really confident when you're introducing yourself to people and telling them what you do. And we are actually going to do a session with you, Raj. We're going to get into your story and the things that you can be talking about for your business, Sakari. So I'm really, really excited to do this with you. And I know that this is going to be a jam-packed episode. Are you ready?
I'm ready and I'm so excited and thankful that you are doing this for me because I've been in business for a little over a year now and I haven't really thought truly about my PR strategy. So I know that this is going to be really important and I hope it highlights for the baddies, you don't have to be at a certain level, you don't have to be in business for X amount of years. You can start really doing this for yourself from the beginning. And I think you said it best. This is how you attract investors, this is how you pitch yourself. So, this is so essential to each and every baddie's business. So,
That's
let's
right.
go. Yeah.
Let's do it. And I think we could do future episodes on this when it comes to specifically pitching journalists and dealing with the media. But today we're just going to jump into the fundamentals of storytelling and how to show up online and how to develop a really powerful story around your brand. And the reason why this is so important is because, again, it goes down to relationship building, developing an emotional connection with your audience, your community, and being able to tell a really unique and powerful story about your brand is what sets you apart from your competitors. This is what separates Apple from Samsung and why Apple is so popular. They tell a really incredible story about design and they sell a very aspirational lifestyle. So this really is like the fundamentals of how to develop a really good marketing strategy around your brand. The thing that I always say to people is start with why. Develop a great origin story for yourself. And there's a very popular best-selling book called Start with Why by the author Simon Sinek. And he says that the world's most successful leaders and companies, they start by communicating why they do what they do as opposed to how they do it.
Oh, I
So
love that.
yeah. So as opposed to just selling your product or your service, you're actually selling a story, something that is really aspirational. And so when you're looking to your why, you need to think about why did you get into the business that you did? Why did you start your company? Why are you developing the product that you are developing? Is there something in your background about you that is unique? What problem are you trying to solve? So for me, my background is that I spent a decade working as an award winning journalist, and I take everything that I learned as a reporter and I help companies navigate the media landscape based on everything that I did as a journalist. And this is something that is really unique about me because it separates me from all the other PR agencies out there that haven't had this experience. People really like that about me. So I really lean into that and position myself as a trusted advisor to a lot of these companies. It could also be something really simple or even emotional about you, your co-founder. Perhaps you developed a budgeting app because you really struggled with your finances and there was no product out there that you saw that could help you. Um, this is going to really position you as unique and different and really help people develop that emotional connection with you and make clear why you're doing what you're doing. So I'm wondering, Rach, what you could tell us about what makes you unique as you look to your background, your origin story. Why do you think people choose Zakari over any of the other businesses that they could work with to help grow their businesses and their revenue?
Okay, so if I think about this and I just give the kind of first answer that comes to mind is, I've had over a decade of experience in corporate selling and I've been really, really good at it. And I've really learnt all my fundamentals from that. Then when I started my business, I really saw a gap in the market, especially with entrepreneurs, people who are, freshly starting their business. They're so good at what they're doing and taking their service or their product to market, but they don't actually know how to sell. And it was actually you that helped me see this. When you first hired me, you were
Yeah.
like, people need to learn how to sell, and you would be amazing to teach people this. And I was like, girl, no,
You
everyone
just
knows how to
assumed
do this.
everyone knew, and I
I
was like, they
did.
don't.
I absolutely did. I was like, this is easy, but it's easy because it comes naturally to me. I've got a natural skill for it, and I've spent years refining it and defining my own way of doing things and reading the books and listening to the podcasts and having conversations with peers and continuously doing it, where I realized like, oh, this is something that I can really help people with, because I think
Hmm.
everyone has a little bit of entrepreneurial spirit in them. It's whether you want to tap into it or not. And I think those people who have really, as you said once, taken life by the scrotum and really went and jumped in to start their business, if I can help them and be like, I'm going to make sure you can make money. You have a great product. You've got a great jewelry line. You've got a great service. If I can be like, hey, I'm going to help you make money, because that's the definition of success for a business, right? It needs to
Hmm.
make money and it has to provide benefit for the people, but you need to make money. Otherwise your business is going to fail. If I can help people do that, that is something I would be really proud of. So
I love it.
that's how it came
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we often think that people like the skills that we have or the products that we're developing or creating are just a given. And one of my girlfriends who is a baddie, started listening to the show. She's just gone out on her own. She has an incredible background in tax and she's an accountant. She's incredibly knowledgeable and she's just gone out on her own and started helping individuals and families with their wealth planning, estate planning, taxes, accounting. And she's very, very gifted. And every time I start chatting to her, she's like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about this? Do you know about this? Do you know about this thing that you could do as an entrepreneur? And I'm like, wow, you have just such incredibly powerful knowledge that most people would never have. And she probably thinks it's not that amazing, but it really is. And so I imagine for her, the ability to go out there and help people manage their finances and feel better when it comes to tax time and know that they're maximizing their wealth and really setting themselves up for success. That is so powerful as opposed to just like, I'll do your taxes for you. Like I'm an accountant, let me do your taxes. It's like, no, like I help families and individuals get themselves on an incredible financial path, set up real wealth generating tools for them. That is really, you could see how one of these things is more compelling than the other. Additionally, you talked about this earlier, Raj, where you're pushing on a customer's pain point. Right. And so this is really important as well. You need to position yourself as the solution to your customers' problems. Think of like gyms, for example, Equinox, Crunch, Anytime Fitness, any of those gyms. They don't sell access to treadmills. What they're actually selling is washboard abs, a hot body, a great lifestyle, health, something that is really aspirational. And so building a, powerful narrative that people, customers, investors are going to want to buy into, that's really important as well. You're wanting to sell a solution to people's problems as opposed to, just like a vitamin. You really want to get clear on what they need and say, hey, I can fix all your problems. And for you, Raj, that's like, okay, founders are so busy, they don't necessarily have the time or the skills to get their finances in order, think about selling, come up with healthy revenue streams, a great list of prospects. They're overwhelmed, they don't have time. You take that off their hands. And so, I imagine that these are the pain points that you're helping solve for your customers.
I think you're correct. Absolutely. So thank you for kind of highlighting that
You beat
and
me to
sharing that
it.
with me.
Something else we talk about as well is knowing who your customers are and not trying to be all things to all people. This is
That
something
part.
that we've talked about in past episodes as well, where when I originally started Eden, I thought that I was going to be a PR agency for solopreneurs and small businesses, and that wasn't really working for me. And so I pivoted, and now I just focus on high growth tech companies and startups. And so, if you want to be everything to everybody, you're going to attract no one. And so getting really clear on who your customers are, what their pain points are, and speaking directly to them. And really, it's okay to speak only to them. You want to send a really clear signal, and just speak to them and cut out everything else. So, in your marketing, in your PR, in all the materials that you're developing, in your social media content that you're putting out there, really always keep in mind, have a vision of who this person is, who you're trying to help, and just speak directly to them. What are their pain points? What do they need to hear? What do they need from you? And keep that close. And also think about where they're showing up online. This goes into PR strategies in terms of, what eventually what podcasts you want to appear on, what publications you're going to reach out to when you do want that media coverage. Being really crystal clear on who you're trying to talk to is important. And Rach, I'm curious to hear how this is going for you. If you have, a really clear idea of who your customers are, and how you're talking to them, and if that's also changed for you.
You know what? It has. It has, because in the beginning, I was like, well, I'll take anyone because I need to make money and this is what's really important. And I don't regret that because I learned so much from the beginning, and it allowed me to come up with a new offering, which is my cohort offering. And as I was building out the cohort offering, it was just going to be 12 modules, it was going to be over 12 weeks. And then I started to realize, oh, my B2B clients have somewhat of a different need to my B2C clients. So I separated them out. I separated the B2B and I separated the B2C. Now, if someone is going to be working with me, and so, like we've mentioned before in previous episodes, my cohorts are very, very affordable. 100 a month to 1,000 a month, super affordable. My private one-on-one consulting that I do with clients, I'm very, very selective with who I work with. And that's anywhere between 5 and 15K per month, depending on their needs, the hours, the scope of project. But what I really look for is a cultural fit with this individual. Do they have the hustle, the emotional capacity? What is their product? Do I really believe in it? Is it something that I can really help launch or scale or elevate to the next level? I'm not just taking anyone, so you have to have that kind of segmentation.
Yeah. And would you say that you're helping more early stage entrepreneurs?
With my cohort, yes. I'm helping
Mm-hmm.
early stage entrepreneurs because I think that's very important. There are so many early stage entrepreneurs out there that maybe don't have, the 5 to 15K per month to start working with me. And, that was my price point when I first started. And so I had a handful of clients, but it allowed me to learn a lot, right? Then, when you think about scaling and servicing early stage entrepreneurs, you need something that is cost effective for them, for that market. And eventually, when they pass the early stage entrepreneurs, they can then move on and start working with me one on one
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
and
you've also
work
got
in
that
a deeper
scale, like
way.
that
Exactly.
sliding. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think so this is basically your your niche clients. So I think, for you it's like coming up with your elevator pitch, right? This is something that you will be using when you're talking to people at networking events, when you're showing up online, when you're writing, the materials for your website, when you're eventually reaching out to journalists, what you're kind of putting out in terms of social media content. So basically, the formula for your elevator pitch is essentially, I am and then you would include your background, who helps, and then you're talking about, your ideal customer achieve XYZ outcome.
That's a great
So,
formula. We're going to put
yeah,
that in the show notes
we are going to put that
so
in the show
people can
notes.
see it and they can plug and play and put their little bits in there. I think
Right.
that'll be super helpful for people.
So, for example, for me, I would say, my name is Ebony Lukovitz. I'm a former award-winning journalist who worked in newsrooms for a decade. Today, I take everything that I have learned as a media insider, and I help fast-growing, innovative, early-stage tech and crypto companies navigate the media landscape, win the information war, and tell really powerful stories, attract attention, attract customers, attract investors, and help them grow and scale.
Amazing. That's okay. So that's my homework. And that's, I feel, going to be every baddie's homework. Take that
Yeah.
formula and figure out your elevator pitch. Because, mine has changed since, my company has continued evolving. I had my
What
elevator
would
pitch
you
right in
say
the beginning.
now? If you were to develop
Oh.
an elevator pitch now and you were to describe yourself, who you help, your ideal customer,
Hmm.
and what is the outcome that you're helping them achieve, how would you describe yourself?
Okay, so I am Rachna Patel. I've got over a decade of experience working in sales, tech, big corporations. I help early stage entrepreneurs successfully learn from start to finish how to make more money for their business.
Amazing.
Is that it? Is that what
That's
my
it.
is
That's
that my
literally
new
it.
elevator
That's
pitch?
literally it. You did so
Ooh,
good. You
thank
did so
you.
good.
I
And
think
this
I
is
did
something that you can
too.
practice and finesse. You
Yes.
did so good. This is something that you can practice and finesse, but it's really great to have this in your pocket when you are meeting people, when you're networking, when you're showing up online, when you're writing your LinkedIn bio, when you're
Mm-hmm.
introducing yourself to journalists, when you're on panels, even when talking to friends.
Yes.
Having this will help you feel more confident and really it's very important to help you kind of show up in a way that feels good and is also really clear, and you're
Mm-hmm.
clear on what makes you unique, who you're helping, and what is the outcome that you are selling them.
I love
um,
that.
I love it.
And also, I think the baddies who are thinking about entrepreneurship or early stage entrepreneurs themselves, sometimes it can be tough. It's like, oh, I'm a fractional
Yeah.
CRO. Oh, I've just started my own business. Oh, I have these 8 clients. Oh, I'm doing this. Okay, cool. But what's the shortened elevator pitch? Because when you work in corporate, it's really easy. Yes, I'm an account director and I work for X company.
No
You
one
know,
knows what really, and also it's like, what exactly is that?
right. But and now you're like, okay, now I'm an entrepreneur, I'm running my own business.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I am, this is my company, but this is how I can help people. I think
Yeah.
it's a
And
great
this
way
is
to.
something you can slap on your
Hmm.
LinkedIn. You can put it on your Instagram. If you're making a reel, you can put this at the start of your reels. If you're at networking events, as people say, what do you do? You could show up with confidence and clarity on who you help and what you do, and really what makes you unique as well. Um, so I think I'm going to pivot into talk about something which I really love. And this is good free advice because this is something that I'm talking to my clients all day long about. And my clients are $100 million tech companies. So I'm so excited to share this with the baddies, which is where is the media landscape going? What should I be spending my time and energy doing? Where should I be showing up? Where can I meet my customers? And this is something that everyone is doing from, the founder and the CEO of Uber, to people who are running small B2B, businesses. And this is something that I really want the baddies to keep in mind. Founder led content and showing up online and being a content creator is without a doubt the best way that you can start to build an audience and a platform and a following for your brand. And I'm saying this, and you're probably like, oh, I'm nervous. I don't want to put myself out there. I totally get it because you would be surprised to hear that even a few months ago, I was struggling with this myself. I was scared to start showing up, creating content online, filming myself because I was nervous about people rejecting me and thinking that I'm an idiot and saying something wrong. But this is something that you really need to start doing um, in order to start getting word out about you and your brand and your product and how you're contributing your gifts to the world. And so getting clear on who your customers are and where they're spending time is the most important thing. So for me, my customers are on LinkedIn. Your customers may be younger. You may be selling a consumer product. Maybe they're hanging out on TikTok. Raj, where do you think your ideal customer persona, where do you think your community and customers are spending time? Is it LinkedIn? Is it Instagram? Where do you think they're hanging out online?
I think it's both. I think it's Instagram, but there's so many people on there. It's quite a
Yeah,
saturated feed, right?
it is.
And then I think those individuals who come from a corporate background but are then starting their own businesses, they are within LinkedIn. And I know it's something I need to get better with. I need to
Yeah.
start showing up consistently on LinkedIn. I remember when I launched my cohorts, I did like a couple of reels and like I did a little voiceover and I was like, wow, oh my God, I did this. And it
Oh,
took me ages. And I was
I
like, I
know.
don't like this. But I
I
need to,
know.
yeah, I need to start doing it more to become consistent with it, just like we record this podcast every week, right? I need to become more
Yeah.
consistent with it. And I think we need to get the podcast on LinkedIn now. I think about it too. Like, oh, should probably do that.
Let's inject some color and some fun into
Yes.
corporate stuffy LinkedIn. I love that. So, yeah, for me and for you, probably we're trying to reach founders, so they're on LinkedIn. But
Hmm.
for example, one of my best girlfriends, she has really incredible sunglasses company, INDY sunglasses. And she has started posting a lot on Instagram. And for
Hmm.
the longest time, she was really nervous about recording content of herself and taking people on the journey of her building her sunglasses brand and recording content like a day in the life of her as a female founder or taking people behind the scenes of these really incredible wins that she was getting and photo shoots. People love to see that. They want to develop a emotional connection with you. They want to know who they're buying from, who's the person behind the business. Additionally, you have so much knowledge that you can share with people. And so, by giving away your knowledge and generating that goodwill, what you're also doing is you're warming up all of these prospects, making these sales a lot easier. So, by the time that someone, is ready to reach out to you to buy your product or to engage your services, they already feel like they know you, they trust you, understand what you're about. They know that you know your shit, and it doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, we've seen a move away from really polished content to stuff that's more raw and real and less edited. People love that stuff. And so just start, just get one video out there. I promise it gets faster, it gets easier. You'd be surprised by how
Promise.
quickly you can start. I promise, I promise. I started posting stuff on LinkedIn. I started recording videos where I was analyzing news headlines and providing my ideal customer persona, founders of early stage tech companies who weren't sure how to navigate the media landscape. I started recording advice for them. And I kid you not, Raj, within a week, my videos had 4 million views.
Absolutely insane.
4
Insane
million
numbers.
views.
Because you were right
Yeah.
where people needed you to be,
Yeah. And
right?
I was
That's where
dialed
they were
into what
coming.
they needed. I knew
This is
what they
amazing.
needed. I know, and I knew where they were spending time. And this is something that you will start to use as well when you're getting to like, okay, I'm ready to start appearing on podcasts and I want to start going and doing my PR in a bigger way. Knowing what you can talk about, knowing what your customers need, knowing who they're listening to, where they're spending time, what podcasters they love is really crucial. LinkedIn is a great place to show up because only 1% of LinkedIn users are creating content each week. And additionally, LinkedIn is really, the algorithm is uh, rewarding people who are creating video content because LinkedIn knows that video content performs really well. You know, obviously, TikTok, Instagram, this is, you know, reels are shared more widely in the feed. So if you are selling to businesses or professionals, LinkedIn is really where it's at. And you can immediately see huge, huge reach there and start reaching people who are your ideal kind of customers. Without needing to spend any money on advertising. And if you're not sure of what to post, you know, let me share some ideas with you that are really repeatable. You can talk about your origin story, right? So doing a video where you're like, "Hey, you know, I'm Rachna. I spent a decade working in sales at all these really big corporate companies and I learned a lot. And, you know, I decided last year to go out on my own and build my own business, Sakari Consulting. I'm really passionate about helping early stage founders, you know, and also maybe share some of the things that you're passionate about or that you care about. In past episodes, we talked about the fact that you are a woman of color and you came up in a man's industry and now you want to help entrepreneurs and founders of color as well, people from marginalized backgrounds. You could talk about that. You can provide a hot take on the industry, something that you believe that no one else does. You can talk about your predictions for the upcoming year, myth busting, your kind of top tips on various sales techniques. You can also talk about trends in sales and analyze those. You can even provide monthly updates on how Zakari is going. Um, and really helping your ideal customer persona with problems that they may be having. There are two people that I want to give a shout out to who are constantly sharing ideas. One of them is Tommy Clark from Compound Agency. He is a goat. He's a king at LinkedIn. He's constantly sharing tips and advice for founders. I'll put his profile in our show notes. The other one is Savannah Jordan. She's more marketing focused, but she has a really great podcast called Running with Wolves. I'll put that in the show notes. She also teaches women how they can be showing up online, marketing themselves well, and moving people through the sales funnel. So let's see, Raj. I'd love to hear maybe what you would like to talk with your you know, some content ideas that you could do. You said that you tried to film a video for your you know, promoting your cohort model. What are some things that come to mind when I'm sharing these different, you know, topic ideas? Maybe some videos that you could record for your customers or ideal customer persona that would really help them and be great advice for them.
I'm glad that you brought this up because the first thing that really resonated with me was that it doesn't have to be perfect. And I know
Hmm.
I myself am a perfectionist, and I'm sure so many people out there can also relate to that. And especially when you're putting yourself out there on a public platform, you know, like I keep my private life private. Like my Instagram is private. Bad Girls Guide to Business is an open profile. Zakari is an open profile. But, you know, it's like, how much can you show, and how do you always remain really authentic? So thank you for saying it doesn't need to be perfect. That I think is really important for the baddies to hear. Off the top of my head, I think that the origin story will be really good for
Hmm.
people to hear. I've always found that I connect with the 2025 predictions, or the top five, myths, or the top five mistakes. I'm pretty
Hmm.
drawn to that type of content, whether I'm reading something or I'm watching something on YouTube, or, articles, books, anything like that. So I think those three would be really important to start with. So you've given
Yeah.
me a lot of inspiration.
Yeah. And I think just echoing what you said, showing up online and being seen can be really hard, but it's important to remind yourself that you have gifts and things to share, and people want to hear from you and they need to hear from you. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because the other thing is that people are consuming so much content online.
Hmm.
They'll consume your content and they're not going to be sitting there 5 minutes later going, oh my God, like that girl had such a big zit on her forehead, or I can't
Exactly.
believe
No
how
one
many
cares.
ums and ahs she said. No one cares.
No
And it
one
gets
cares.
easier the more that you do it. And I really love this. There's this book that I read by Elizabeth Gilbert of Eat, Pray, Love fame. She has a really wonderful book for creatives called Big Magic. And she basically talks about the struggle of the creative process and building and developing things. And the one thing I took away from the book was she said everything in the world that could have been created has already been created. The difference is that it hasn't been created by you. And so you're probably thinking, but this is already
That's
done, and people, this is already out there in the world, and that idea has already been done. Yes, but it hasn't been done by you.
that's so powerful.
It
I think that's
is.
one of my favorite quotes. Thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. And I even struggle with this myself, because I think, okay, I haven't been doing comms for that long. My PR agency isn't that big. What do I know? Who cares what I think? You get so down on yourself. And then you put a couple of things out there and people say, hey, that really helped me, or thanks for sharing. In my case, for example, it was so hard for me to start posting content on LinkedIn. And then I did, and it got really easy. And then before I knew it, my videos were having millions of views. I'm not saying millions of views is the case for something, being successful. And if you don't reach that, then you've failed. But I think just as an entrepreneur, pushing yourself beyond what you think you can do, there's something so rewarding about that. And to show how this is really important for business, I was having a sales conversation with a prospect last week, a potential new client. And during that call, one of the guys on the team said to me, I'm really loving your videos on LinkedIn. I really like them. Thank you for sharing them. I'm learning a lot. So there is like the proof that you don't need to wait for Forbes to come calling. You don't need to worry about, pitching yourself to to podcasts. You can start creating content yourself and acting as your own newsroom and your own publicist. And this is something that's free, and it's something you can start doing today. So I really recommend people start doing that. Push yourself. You'll surprise yourself, and you'll make yourself really proud. And that's what it's all about.
I think that's great. I hope that's really
Yeah,
inspired people as much as it's inspired me.
totally. So I think maybe this is a good place to leave it. I hope that, Rach, you found this helpful. I hope the baddies have learned something from this episode. I'd love to do a future episode where we perhaps get into the next level, level two, which is starting to reach out to journalists, starting to put out press releases, news. Maybe you have a product that you're really proud of that you're ready to share with the world. How do you pitch that to different magazines or reporters? We could talk about that next time. But it all really starts with what makes you and your business so unique. How do you help people? And how can you confidently show up in the world and start spreading your message? Hopefully, these tools help you. And I hope that you can push through that imposter syndrome that we all struggle with and start showing up and sharing your gifts with the world.
Thank you so much, Ebs. This was a wonderful episode. I know I learned so much. So thank you for workshopping everything with me. Baddies, don't forget to like and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to us on, whether it's Apple, Spotify, or YouTube. We can't wait for the next episode. See you all then. Thanks. Bye.
Bye, baddies.